A new Golf has come among us, and that means, of course, there's a new Golf GTI, and that's big news. You want a sports car? You buy a GTI. You want a practical shopping car? You buy a GTI. You want something robust? You buy a GTI. And if you want something with a bit of flair, guess what? I know millionaires who have GTIs. I know kids with Saturday jobs who have GTIs. The GTI crosses dynamic boundaries, it crosses social boundaries. It's a working class hero, and it's an aristocratic blue blood. It even has blue lights. So, the new one then. Any good, or has Volkswagen been too busy taking over the world to care about the core product? There's no doubt it still has the best name in the business, but is it still the best hot hatch? There was a time, of course, when it only had to beat the XR3, but not anymore. This is the Fiat Bravo HGT. 2 litres, 5 cylinders, 20 valves and 147 horsepower. The Golf wades into battle with 1.8 litres, 20 valves, 4 cylinders, a turbo and 150 horsepower. And then there's the incredible Peugeot 306 GTI. Only has 16 valves and there's no turbo, but it is the lightest car here. And its 2-litre engine develops 167 brake horsepower. So it's also the most powerful. Couple that to the fact the Peugeot has a 6-speed gearbox and you have no trouble predicting the winner in a straight-line dash down the runway. This is easy. As they pass 60, the Peugeot's ahead. As they pass 90, the Peugeot's ahead. And at the top end, the Peugeot will nudge 140, while the others won't. Power up and burn. If you want to go faster than a Peugeot 306 GTI, you'll need one of these. But what happens when things get bent and twisty? The Fiat is a surprisingly soft riding car, quite comfortable, and yet it handles really rather well. It's all terribly safe and predictable. Now the Volkswagen is also a soft rider, almost to the point of being bouncy. It really looks like an accident waiting to happen, especially when that back wheel becomes airborne. All Golf GTIs have always done that, and I'm glad this one still does. It shows they haven't changed the recipe too much. Yes, it may have gone a bit soft round the middle, the gearbox is flobbery, it's swapped its cargo pants for a nice sensible pair of jeans, but it is still a little cracker to drive. However, the Peugeot is in a different league. This may have front-wheel drive, but if you stick it into a corner and lift off, it'll snap into oversteer. Now, some people I know are unnerved by this, but when you're ready for it, when you know it's going to happen, the 306 GTI becomes the best friend you ever had. Oh dear, I appear to have made a bit of a mess of these tyres, but what do you expect? This is the best sports car here. However, if you want a sports car, why don't you buy a Mazda MX-5? You see, the whole point of a hot hatchback is that it has to be practical. And on that front, the Peugeot and the Fiat start to lose some brownie points. They have no back doors. So, if you want to get in the back seat, you have to be Olga Korbut. Only more rubbery.
Check this out.
Only the Golf has 5 doors here, and a big boot, and a rear bench that folds down easily. So if you've got children, this is what you buy. But what if you've got a budget? Well, you can have a cheap 125 brake horsepower version, but don't. It's hopeless. Then, in a few months' time, there'll be a luxury V5, and after that, a four-wheel drive V6. But for now, this one's best. It costs £18,200, but anti-lock brakes, a trip computer, you can even have air conditioning for less than £400. The Peugeot costs about the same, and there are no obvious reasons why the Fiat should be any less. Sure, the interior's a little plasticky, and it's not the fastest hot hatch out there, but it costs £15,800, £3,000 less than the others. And it'll be cheaper to insure, and it's more economical. For those of a Yorkshire persuasion, this is the one to buy. Crikey, this is complicated. You see, there's a perfectly good reason for buying any one of these cars. The Peugeot is the fastest and the nicest to drive. The Volkswagen is the most practical. And the Fiat is spectacular value for money. And I've got to pick one winner. I'm tempted by the Golf. Volkswagen does better in our JD Power survey than either Fiat or Peugeot, so this should be more reliable than the others. And anyway, it's not like it's an all-new car. The chassis and the engine have come from the Audi A3, a car we've known and liked for a couple of years. I love the simplicity of the interior too. It's so well organised, so beautifully put together, so German. And then you've got the blue dials and the dark wood. I know this car costs an awful lot more than the Fiat, but I think it's just worth it. But is it better than the Peugeot? Well, I guess that depends on whether you want a fast car that happens to be practical, or the Golf, a practical car that happens to be fast. I must be getting old. I'd take the Golf.